What we went through in the last class was more of a traditional sort of lead primary, where we don't go into as much detail about the nitty-gritty foundations of how you practice. We more or less just assume that the practitioner has some experience, and we move quite fluidly through the postures. What I want these next few days to be about is covering all those foundational basics that are really the most essential aspects of your yoga practice. And I really like to think of what the purpose of having these foundations is. Okay, so let's look at what they are first. We got breath, a particular type of breathing that we use. Bandhas, a particular way that we're energetically engaged into the pelvic floor and the core area. And we have Drishti, which is the way that we hold a single pointed gaze. So 3 sense objects that we're focused on all the time. Now, why I think that those are important is because they're all, your ability to hone into those 3 sense objects simultaneously greatly affects not just the way you're practicing when you're on the yoga mat, but the way that you are in a lot of life situations. Okay, think about when you're talking to a friend who's going through a rough time, and you need to soothe and comfort them in some way, or give them some compassion for something that they're going through. The way that you're best able to do that is to have curiosity and empathy. And that's how you can create a healing and compassionate situation for that person. Okay? And when you're doing that, it's really determined by your ability to be present with that person. So as you're sitting there with them, you're watching what they're saying, carefully looking for the movements and expressions and changes in their face as you're talking. That helps you better understand. Listening to exactly what they're saying and not letting your mind drift off somewhere else. That's also keeping you more present with that person. And then feeling, it's never just a verbal and visual exchange that's going on. There's always subtly somewhere in there, whether you are believing it or not, there's an energetic exchange going on. So when I'm talking to somebody and they're having a rough time, or if I'm having a rough time and I need to talk to somebody, I want to feel deeply into my body. Like, where is the feeling coming from? Where does tension start to hold in the body? And when I'm listening to another person who's going through something, I'm at least trying to imagine the feeling that they're having and recreating that in my own body in some way. So this is further helping us get that feeling of empathy. Now, to just look at this from another angle, from that personal sort of level that you can help somebody with your curiosity and your presence and your empathy, on a world scale. So imagine that you're, like if you're thinking about world geopolitics and these, larger scale things that are often too hard to fathom. Rather than just thinking about the way that it might be affecting us in a small way, the way it might be affecting our small self in some way, we can look at it in a way that's like even slightly detached from being too involved in the subject. I think it's easy to get overwhelmed by the talks of like impeachment trials and wars and famines and pandemics and all of this stuff. So a good way to approach those kind of subjects is, again, to use curiosity and empathy as your superpowers. Just have a curiosity for what's going on and a feeling of compassion for what's going on. Observe your 3 sense objects that you can bring into the equation. I'm looking at what's happening, I'm listening about what's happening, and I'm feeling what's happening. And you just focus on those 3 prongs, and then your mind doesn't get as involved. You're more seeing directly what is going on rather than the stories the mind creates about the story that is unfolding. So it's a very subtle difference between those. Directly experiencing the story that's being told, or the mind's creation of the story that's being told. It's just one little way that you can find yourself separated from direct experience. So to avoid being separated from direct experience and truth, try to see things with three sense objects simultaneously. Okay, getting started with the practice, we'll observe what those three sense objects are, how you can engage them, and then we'll go through some postures and try to exercise observation on those objects. Okay, so we call these sense objects the Trishtana, and for its intents and purposes, we'll call what we're doing now Trishtana Meditation. So I just invite you to find comfortable seat. Easy crossed legs, or if you prefer Siddhasana with the heels in line with each other, that's another way to sit. Or for some of you, you might want to sit on your knees with the legs folded back this way. And if you experience any hip or lower back pain, sit on top of a block. That'll make it easier for you. The thumb and forefinger touching. Straighten the arms and rest the wrists on top of the knees. And feel the tallness up through the crown of the head, feeling the back of the neck is lifting and straightening, ears back in line with the shoulders, sitting with this nice tall nobility to the posture. Engage through the trunk, no sinking into the lower back or letting the shoulders roll forwards, just up nice and tall. And first, just observing your breath. No Ujjayi breath just yet, just noting where is your breath at. Is it already quite a comfortable, deep breath, or is it a little bit tight and restricted? Just noting what is. And then just see if you can make sure all those breaths are coming through the nostrils. You breathe through the nostrils, you're humidifying the air, you're detoxifying the air, and you're also warming the air on its passage into the lungs. And the better you can create those conditions for the air coming in, the more efficiently your body can use that oxygen. Rather than when you breathe through the mouth, it's not used quite as efficiently. So breathing through the nostrils, most effective way to breathe, least taxing on your body, and greatest reducer of stress. And you might notice that automatically, if you're breathing through the nostrils, it's a little bit more challenging to get the breath in and out. So it takes a little bit longer to get the breath in and out, which is a good thing. And actually, if you can stretch that breath to somewhere between 4 and 6 seconds on the inhale, 4 to 6 seconds on the exhale, that's your optimal breathing range. So we'll call this the natural breath, and this kind of breathing you could use all day, every day, no matter what you're doing. If you could maintain that level of breathing, you would notice some dramatic changes. We'll add one more factor to it, so it's Ujjayi Breath. We'll go through a few steps to achieving that. Inhale through your nostrils, and then exhale through the mouth with a sound. So repeating that a few times, it's just as if you were trying to fog a glass in front of the face. Noticing that as you're doing that, the air is coming out slightly warmer on your lips. And that in order to create that warmth, you needed to reduce the size of your windpipe low on the throat. Don't do it by doing it high on the throat. It's low on the throat. Okay. You got that sensation? Now try and take that sensation and try and do it while the mouth is closed. And try to recreate the same sound on the inhalation as well. And you might find it helpful, in order to make it a deep resonant sound, to just separate your teeth and push your tongue onto the roof of the mouth, so the mouth becomes a bit more cavernous while you're breathing. Try to create same sound on the inhale, same sound on the exhale. And then next element, see if you can also follow an energetic pattern while you're maintaining that sound. That as you're inhaling, watch awareness go from your sitting bones touching the ground, draw energy upwards through the body, all the way up to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, watch the awareness floating back down from crown of the head all the way through to the sitting bones. Inhale, awareness up the body. Exhale, awareness down the body. We call that pattern a prana on the inhale, drawing energy upwards, effort to draw the energy upwards. And the exhalation, apana, it's effortless. It's kind of like gravity moving back down, pulling back down. Inhale, prana, awareness up the body. Exhale, apana, awareness going down the body. And that pattern you're going to try and follow even when you're moving through the postures, and you'll notice that all the upward type movements in the Ashtanga sequence are on an inhale, and all the downward type movements are done on an exhale. And if you can maintain that awareness upwards and downwards through the body throughout your practice, then you'll be really ensuring that there's no stage during the practice that awareness isn't flowing through the entire body. If there isn't this pattern of upward and downward movement of the awareness, that sometimes certain body parts miss out, or they switch off, or they don't engage. But if you're constantly scanning the body up and down, then it's always going to be switched on. Okay. So that's the breathing. Second thing to bring awareness to, that kind of links to this energetic up and downward movement of energy, is bandhas. And what bandhas are, it's, well, we'll only talk about one of them today, the Mula Bandha. It's a squeezing of your pelvic floor. You need to follow your exhalation all the way out, and at the end of the exhalation, try to fake a swallow. And you'll notice that there's a movement of the pelvic floor when you do that. Then you can take a breath in, take a breath out, follow the breath all the way out, and then hold your exhalation for a moment. Again, fake a swallow. Notice the sensation on the pelvic floor. And then watch your inhalation come in again. And again, exhaling all the way out, all the way out. Follow your exhalation, and then at the end of the exhalation, fake a swallow, and then inhaling all the way in again. Okay, so now what I want you to do with that sensation, rather than continuing to add the swallow, now try to follow your exhalation and then find that sensation on the pelvic floor. Try and squeeze the pelvic floor and keep squeezing the pelvic floor for the duration of your inhalation. And then exhale, let it soften, and watch the awareness float back down. Inhale, squeeze the pelvic floor, effort to pull prana up through the body, up through towards the crown. And the exhale, letting it soften, and watch the awareness float back down. Inhale, squeeze the pelvic floor, awareness drawing up the spine, all the way up through to the crown. And the exhale, you can let them both go and watch the awareness float back down. And just repeating that a few times. Alright. So then what you want to do is see if you can connect your mula bandha both on the inhalation and the exhalation. So as you're inhaling, there's squeezing a pelvic floor and awareness going up through the spine. And now with the exhale as well, you try to maintain the squeezing on the pelvic floor and watching the awareness floating back down. So now you're keeping mula bandha engaged. Inhale while prana is being drawn upwards. And as you exhale, even as the awareness is floating back down, you still maintain the awareness of mula bandha. Inhale, squeezing pelvic floor. Exhale, squeezing pelvic floor. And so we're just going to maintain that awareness for 10 more breaths. In that you've still maintained that light rasping sound on the throat. Also noting, has the sound transferred from being on the upper part of the throat to the lower part of the throat? If it's in the upper part of the throat, try to relax the jaw, try to press the tongue onto the roof of the mouth, and then try to create the sound from low on the throat. That lower part of the throat where you can help create the relaxation response for the body. If it's higher on the throat, it's more likely you're creating a tension response. Try to make it low on the throat. That's probably been about 10 breaths now, so we'll add the third element to Trishtana, is opening the eyes, and just find a point on the ground, roughly a meter or so in front of you, just a blemish that you can notice, an object, and holding your eyes still on that object. And maybe you notice that there's a tendency that the eyes want to look around and see something else that's going on. See if you can train your eyes to want to stay on that single point. The gaze staying the single point, the pelvic floor maintaining that feeling of engagement, and the light rasping sound still coming from low on the back of the throat. And this is becoming like a feedback loop. Whenever you're entering into any of the postures today, that are my eyes still on the one point? Is my pelvic floor engaged? Am I maintaining sound with the breath? And then this becomes analogous for the way that you would counsel that friend who's going through a hard time. They're telling you about their issues, and you're sitting there with them having presence, noticing their facial expressions, listening to what they're saying, and trying to feel energetically what their experience is. And whether it's the healing of that other person or even the self-healing that's taking place, which is more what's happening with the yoga practice. This is really healing the self. It's a way of having that same level of presence and compassion you have for the friend as you're having with yourself now. I'm looking to one point. I'm feeling sensations. I'm listening to my own breath, and I'm keeping this constant feedback loop with myself. And this is the way that yoga can help you relax yourself. And then once you can trigger that relaxation response for yourself, it's underneath. Once that relaxation can happen, then the deep healing and self-transformation can occur as well. Okay. Let's get started. So coming up into standing, and we have the opening chant. Today I'll go through it with in shorter bursts so that we can have like a call and a response. So that those of you that aren't familiar with the chant can start to slowly pick up the Sanskrit words. What this mantra represents, it's an acknowledgement of respect to the lineage of teachers and students that have kept this practice alive for the last at least 2,500 years. That it's not just the people who have taught it, but the people who have received it and continue to pass it on. And we trace back to where this original teaching came from, which was Patanjali in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And we don't actually know if Patanjali was one person or several people that compiled what this philosophy is. But it's an acknowledgement that there was an original source of this knowledge, and having an attitude of gratitude to where that knowledge came from certainly deepens the value that you're going to attribute to this type of practice. So whether you want to participate in the chant or not, it's up to you. I invite you to bring your hands into prayer. And shutting at the eyes, feeling the feet on the ground and the tallness up through the crown of the head. The mantra is Om, the mantra with call and response, and then Om together at the end. Take a full exhalation. Full breath inhale. Vande Gurunam, Charanarvinde, Sandarshita, Svatma, Sukhavabodhe, Nishrayase, Jangalikaya Mane, Samsara Hala Hala, Moha Shantiye, Abahu, Purushakaram, Shankha Chakrasi, Dharanam, Sahasra, Sirasam, Shreyatam, Pranamami,
Patanjali.
Releasing the hands, fingertips descend, shoulder blades descend. Spreading out the toes, pressing down into the base of the big toe, the little toe, the heel. Feeling awareness goes up through the legs, firming through the shins, the thighs, the buttocks slightly engaged, the navel slightly engaged, and the chest lifting. Smooth, light rasping sound coming from low on the back of the throat. Engagement of the pelvic floor, and a single point of gaze. Trying to maintain your awareness on those 3 points as much as possible from the start to the end of the practice. We'll move very gently through the initial Sun Salutations. Ekam, 1, lift the arms, reach the arms up, press the palms together, look to the thumbs, lower belly draws in. Dwe, exhale, lower belly stays drawn in as you fold forwards, look forwards, bend your knees these initial rounds, hands on the ground, relax the neck, look to your nose tip. Trini, inhale, come to your fingertips, slowly lift the upper back up, look forwards, crown of the head forwards, sitting bones back. Chatwari, ground the hands, spread out your fingers and step back with the right, then the left leg. Coming into this high plank and pausing here for a moment, your hips are up, navel engaged, spine up between shoulder blades, and your gaze is forwards, straight ahead. Drop down onto your knees, or you can stay on your toes if you know you can do a chaturanga. And on your next exhalation, lower down with your elbows close to the sides, making sure that the shoulders stay drawing back all the way down, slowly down, all the way to the left. Inhale, firm the belly, firm the legs, and lift up just the chest. Try to squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. And exhale, tuck the toes, and roll through your upper back into downward facing dog. Okay, having the knees bent on your first round. 1, look forward to the hands, check the forefinger points forwards, and your forefinger knuckle is grounded. 2, then try to turn the inside of the elbows slightly towards the ceiling. 3, relax your neck, looking between the feet. 4, push through the fingertips, lift the sitting bones up a little bit higher. 5, bend the knees, crouch and look forwards to where you're going to step, and step forwards with your left, then the right leg. Come halfway up, look forwards. Ashtanga, bend the knees, relax the neck, look to the nose. Nava, 9, lift the arms, reach up, look to the thumbs. Exhale, Samasthiti. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Ekam, 1, reach the arms up, firm thighs, look to the thumbs. Dwe, firm at the navel, look forwards as you fold, bend the knees, hands to the mat, look to the nose. Trini, keep the lower belly in, come to fingertips, look forwards, shoulders back. Chatwari, ground the hands, step back with the left, then the right leg. Push back through the heels, spine up between the shoulder blades, gaze forwards. Pause here a moment. So you can drop to the knees if you need to, particularly if there's shoulder issues. And then on your next breath, lower down with your elbows close to the sides, and just come halfway down. Point the toes, inhale, lift the chest, hips forwards, chest up, look to your nose tip. Shut, 6, roll through the shoulders into down dog. And adjust the feet so they're hip width apart. 1. So this round you can work on pressing down one heel at a time, alternating with your breath. 2. This will just help with loosening off the calves and hamstrings if you're particularly tight in those areas. 3. 4. And then coming back into neutral for 5. Bend the knees, crouch, look forwards.
Step forwards with the right, then the left leg. Step up. And on the exhale, relax your neck, look to your nose. Firm the belly. Nava 9, lift the arms, reach up, look to the thumbs, all on the in-breath. Exhale, Samasthiti. Again, Ekam, lift the arms, reach up, look to the thumbs, firm the navel. Dwe, exhale, falling down, look to the nose. Trini, head up, shoulders come back. Chatwari, ground the hands and you can step or hop back, hop the feet back, land into the high plank, look forward, strong legs and lower down, elbows close to the sides, Chaturanga. Punch, point the toes, inhale, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulders back. Shat, exhale, roll through your shoulders to down dog. 5 breaths again. 1, spread the fingers, spread the toes. 2, perhaps now you can start to work the legs straight. 3, lower belly in and the lower ribs draw in towards the spine as well. 4, push through the fingertips, lift the sitting bones up and back. 5, bend the knees, look forwards. Step or hop to the front, coming halfway up, looking forwards. Ashtanga, firm the belly, look to the nose. Nava, reach the hands up, look to your thumbs. Exhale, Samasthiti. Good. Keep awareness on pelvic floor. Inhale, lifting arms, look thumbs. Dwe, exhale, keep the navel firm as you fold. Trini, slow as your breath, lift the head up, look forwards. Ashtanga, step or hop back as the feet land. In the same breath, lower down, elbows close to sides, Chaturanga. Punch, inhale, point the toes. Use the feet like brake pads, firm the thighs, lift the chest. Shat, exhale, down dog. 5 breaths. 1, maintain the slow depth of breath. 2, even if you're feeling puffed out, try to breathe through your nose. 3, breathe into the sides of the rib cage, breathe into your upper back. 4, imagining you're breathing space between each vertebra. 5, bend the knees, look forward, step or hop to the front, halfway up, look forwards. Ashtanga, exhale, relax the neck, look to the nose. Nava, reach the arms up, look to the thumbs. Exhale, Samasthiti. Ekam, inhale. Dwe, exhale. Trini, inhale. Chatwari, exhale, Chaturanga. Punch, inhale. Shat, exhale. 1. So the gaze can be between the feet or between the knees. 2. To those of you more experienced with it, you can even look to your belly button. 3. Imagine the back of the thighs softening and melting. 4. No rush to get your heels to the mat, just reach them back and down. 5. Bend the knees, look forwards, step or hop to the front, coming halfway up. Ashtanga, exhale, relax the neck, look to the nose. Nava, inhale, reach up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Surya Namaskar V. Ekam, bend the knees, sweep the hands up and look to the thumbs. Oh, it's working. Okay, just pause here for a moment. Okay. So you want to be bent deep into the knees, thighs squeeze together, the arms reach forwards, and then press the hands together. Then see if the hands will come up just a little bit higher, but maintain firmness in the belly as the arms lift. Then on the exhale, fold forwards, hands to the ground. Inhale, Trini, look up. Chatwari, step or hop back. And lower down, same breath, learn Chaturanga.
Inhale, point the toes, lift the chest, breathe into your collarbones. Shut, exhale, down dog. Sapta, bring the right foot forwards and place the foot between the hands, or as close to that as you can. You might need to take an extra step in order to get there. And then bring the hands onto your hips. So at this stage, the back heel is off the ground. Notice that you need to engage the buttocks a little bit to help maintain the balance and maintain a certain level of presence through your feet. Okay. Now, to finalize the posture, turn the back heel inwards, push into the blade of the back foot, and now attempt to drive your left hip forwards. Deepen into the front knee so that the second toe disappears behind the big toe, second toe, and the right hip tries to suck backwards. So I'm now trying to tuck the tailbone quite firmly, bring the lower belly in, bring the lower ribs in, and then on the next inhale, lift the arms, reach up, look to the thumbs. Exhale, fold forwards, step back, chaturanga. Nava, lift the chest. Dasha, down dog. Ekodasha, left foot comes forwards, place the foot, and bring the hands onto the hips. Remember, take an extra step if you need to, or an extra breath to get forwards. Okay, so buttocks are engaged to maintain the balance. Then the back heel turns inwards. And just make sure that the feet haven't crossed the center line during any of these sort of transitions. Otherwise, it'll be impossible to get any kind of squareness to the hips. You want the feet either side of the center line. I push into the blade of the back foot. Attempt to drive the right hip forwards. The left hip I try to suck back in. Tailbone tucked, lower belly in, and then on the inhale, reach up, look to the thumbs. Exhale, fold forwards, take a step back, chaturanga. Nava, lift the chest, breathe to the collarbones. Dasha, down dog. 5 breaths here. 1, push through the fingers. Try to separate your sitting bones. 2, and it'll feel like there's a slight external rotation of the thighs. 3, feel the bandhas engaged, pelvic floor squeezing, lower belly in. 4, breath stays slow. 5, bend the knees, look forwards, and step or hop to the front, halfway up, look forwards. Shodasha, exhale, relax the neck, look to the nose. Suptadasha, bend the knees deeply, squeeze the thighs together and lift the arms in front of the face. Pause there for a moment. So again, we'll break this down, feeling that there's engagement through the inner thighs, the buttocks, the belly. The hands reach forwards, and then press the hands together. Then see if the hands will come a little higher to where the shoulders allow, and exhale, releasing the hands. Samastiti. Again, Iyakam, bend the knees, sweep the hands up, look to the thumbs, 1 breath. Dwe, exhale, hands to mat, look to the nose. Trini, look forwards. Chatwari, step or hop back, chaturanga. Panch, inhale, lift the chest, look to the nose tip. Shat, exhale, down dog. Sapta, right foot forwards, all in 1 breath. Ground the blade of the back foot, reach the arms up, look to the thumbs. All on the exhale, fold down, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest. Dasha, down dog. Ekodasha, left foot forwards, place the foot, ground the blade of back foot, and reach the arms up, look to the thumbs. Dvedasha, fold down, step back, chaturanga. Trayodasha, lift the chest. Chaturdasha, down dog. Taking 5 breaths. 1, push through the fingers, sitting bones up and back. 2, the back of the crown of the head reaches towards the thumbs. 3, the shoulder blades reach back towards the pelvis.
4, keep bringing more weight towards the legs than is in the arms. 5, bend the knees, look forward, step or hop, halfway up, look front. Shodasha, exhale, look to the nose. Suptadasha, bend the knees deeply, squeeze the thighs together and lift the arms. Exhale, Samasthiti. Last one. Ekam, inhale. Dve, exhale. Trini, inhale. Chatwari, exhale, chaturanga. Panch, inhale. Shat, exhale. Sapta, right foot forwards, inhale. Ashta, exhale, chaturanga. Nava, inhale, lift the chest. Dasha, down dog. Ekodasha, left foot forwards, ground the back foot, reach up. Dvedasha, fold, step back, chaturanga. Trayodasha, lift the chest. Chaturdasha, down dog. And slow your breath down. 1, still breaths through the nose. 2, sound coming from low on the back of the throat. 3, pelvic floor engaged. 4, gaze still on one point. 5, bend the knees, step or hop forwards halfway up. Shodasha, exhale, look to the nose. Suptadasha, bend the knees, squeeze thighs together and look thumbs. And exhale, Samasthiti. Padangustasana. Bring the hands to the hips and hop the feet out to the sides. Spreading out the toes. Okay. So for these forward folds, there's a way you can jump straight into the pose, but we'll break this one down so that the movements stay correct. What you want to look for more so than trying to get the legs straight in your forward fold is looking for tilting to happen in the pelvis. And a good way to make sure the pelvis is tilting and not just the hamstring straining and the lower back rounding is bring awareness to your bandhas. So there's a squeezing of the pelvic floor. And the lower belly, the secondary bandha, Uddiyana bandha, draws in towards the spine. So feel on the inner edge of your hip crest that the lower belly is drawing in, and that you can feel there's a muscle engaging just on that inner edge of your hip crest. As you inhale, push the hips away from your, push the hips down, lift the chest up. And then as you exhale, bend the knees as you fold forwards. Keep that engagement of the pelvic floor. If you've lost it, try and switch it back on again. It needs to be on during your forward fold. So the tilt is happening, pelvis, and then grab hold of the toes, bending your knees even more if you need to get the front 2 fingers under the toe and the thumb on the toe tip. Now look forwards, bring your weight forwards towards the toes, and you'll feel yourself like you're almost going to overbalance forwards, so your core engages to prevent you from overbalancing forwards. And then on your next exhale, relax the neck, looking to the nose tip and holding here. 1, you can let the elbows come out to the sides and shoulders away from the ears. 2, pelvic floor strong, lower belly still strong. 3, now imagine you're trying to lift the sitting bones upwards. 4, and perhaps now you can start to straighten the legs a little bit more, maybe not even all the way. 5, and then inhale, looking forwards. Padahastasana, place the hand underneath the foot. So the toes might just be over the fingers, or you might be able to get them all the way to touch the wrist. Wherever it lies, let it stay there, and bring the weight forwards towards the toes again. And as you exhale, relax the neck and look to your nose, holding there. 1, so again, you might need to bend the knees. 2, lower belly in, pelvic floor engaged. 3,
Now perhaps straighten the legs a little more, provided there's no intense sensation. 4, shoulders away from the ears. Feel for a stretching at the wrist. 5, inhale, look forwards, hold. Exhale, hands come to the hips. Inhale, keep squeezing the pelvic floor as you come up.
And exhale, Samastiti, feet together, hands by the sides. Trikonasana, triangle pose, hopping out to the right hand side. Left foot turns in, right foot turns out. Spread out the toes, and on the exhale, reach towards the back wall, and then take hold of just wherever the hand lies. So it might be on the ankle, or it might be further down towards the foot, or maybe you can even grab hold of the big toe with the front 2 fingers. So whichever one is available to you, just stay there. The shin would be ideal for most beginners. Look down to the front foot, so you want the big toe to ground firmly. And with your right hand, even have like a slight inward rotation of the shin bone to help you ground into that big toe. Push into the blade of the back foot and strengthen the back leg. Imagining your left hip is trying to lift upwards, and then look to your fingers and reach up through the fingertips. Maintaining the deep breath. And then on your next inhalation, try and use your back leg to bring yourself up to the center. Right foot turns in, left foot turns out. Spread out the toes. And on the exhale, reach towards the front and bring the hand down to the shin or grab hold of the big toe. Now again, look to the front foot. You want to roll the shin inwards so it helps you ground to the big toe. Push into the blade of the back foot. Try to lift the right hip upwards. And then look to the top hand and looking up to the thumb. Deepen the breath. Pelvic floor engaged. And on the next inhalation, use the back leg to bring yourself back up to your center. Left foot turns in, right foot turns out. And squaring the hips to the back wall, making sure that the feet didn't cross over the center line during the transition. And it's actually a slightly shorter stance than the previous pose. Back foot's about 45 degrees. The hips square to the back wall. And the inner thighs try to squeeze in towards each other, just like you're trying to scissor your legs. Raise the left arm up. And on the exhale, reach forwards, feeling the lower belly is drawing in, and then place the hand onto the shin. Now you can either stay here for a moment. Feel that the big toe of the front foot grounds as the right hip tries to reach backwards. Now with your right hand, place it onto the back of the pelvis. And you want to feel that the pelvis is roughly, or is close to exactly, horizontal with the floor. If it's on an angle, then there's somewhere else trying to compensate, which usually indicates areas of tension in the hips. So work towards flat pelvis first before you attempt to move into the full version of revolved triangle. And we'll actually just stay in this version here today. Crown of the head reaches forwards, sitting bones reach back, thighs strong, and the breath deep. Now connect to your back leg and try to use the back leg to bring yourself back up to center. Right foot turns in, left foot turns out. Square the hips to the front wall. Check the feet haven't crossed over the center line. And then squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Raise up through the right arm. And on the exhale, reach forwards, folding, folding, folding. And then place the hand to your shin. Pause here for a moment, looking for the big toe grounds of the front foot as the left hip tries to reach backwards. Crown of head forwards, sitting bones backwards. And then place the hand onto the pelvis and feel that there's flatness through your pelvis. Couple more breaths. See if you can still maintain as you inhale, awareness up through the body. As you exhale, awareness down through the body. legs strong, connect to your back leg, and on your next inhale, use the back leg to bring yourself up to center, and exhale to the front of the mat, Samasthiti, feet together, hands by the sides. Something in the comments, or is it hopping out to the right hand side? Okay, the left foot turns in, right foot turns out. And you've got a slightly wider stance than in the previous two postures. And then front knee bends. And we're just going to take the option with forearm on the thigh here. And just leave the left arm down by the side of the trunk. So I want to make sure with this, this forearm, I'm not resting my weight on that. It's just a feather-light touch that I'm taking the forearm there. Then I look to my front knee and make sure knee is above the ankle. Buttocks engaged, and my left hip is trying to open up to the side wall. I look for a straight line going through the leg, through the torso, and then reach your left arm straight up, and then over, trying to recreate that same straight line, so the arm, torso, and back leg are all one line. Tailbone tucks, pointing towards the back heel, lower belly drives in, and the feet trying to push into opposite directions. And we'll just take this version today with the neutral gaze, looking to your side wall. And then on your next inhale, push into your front heel, push in the front heel to bring yourself back up. Right foot turns in, left foot turns out. And then again, bending into the front knee, place the forearm onto the thigh with the feather-light touch. Feel that there's a straightness through the back leg and through the trunk. And then look to your front leg, make sure that the knee is above the ankle. Strong back leg. Reach the right hand up, and then turn the palm to face down and bringing the arm over. Looking for that same straight line between the leg, torso, and the arm. Gaze is to side wall. Making sure at no point that the weight has dumped into your left arm. You always want to keep your left shoulder away from the ear and space through your chest. Reach through the fingers while you simultaneously press down the blade of the back foot. And then on your next inhale, push into the front heel, come back up to the center. Left foot turns in, right foot turns out, and drop down onto the back knee. Pointing out the back toes, and pause here for a moment. So you want to first feel hips are at even height, and that there's like a square between your shin bone, thigh bone, and your back thigh bone. Thanks, Dita. The back shin pushes down firmly, the tailbone tucks, and then the hips surge forwards a little bit so that there's some stretch on the front of the left hip. It's a common area of tightness for those of you that spend a lot of time on the chairs. So if you wanted something that stretches off this tense part of the hip, this is the ideal stretch. Back shin pushing down, hips surging forwards. But then we take this a little further to incorporate the twist. The left arm reaches up and slots into the outer edge of the right knee. So you can use your right arm to kind of help the elbow and the shoulder on its way in, and then bringing the hands into prayer. Look back down to your knee and then try and position the knee so it's still above the ankle. Firmness through the buttocks so the hips stay an even height, and then just looking to the side wall. Now notice if during the twist, how has the breath changed? Has it gotten shallower as a result of the twist? If it has, make the effort to try and re-deepen the breath, despite being in the twisted situation. Length through the crown of the head, broadness of the shoulders, and then looking down, push into your front heel and inhale, come back up to the center. So standing up, right foot turns in, left foot turns out, and drop down onto the back knee. Pointing out the toes. Again, look for the box shape between your front leg and your back leg. The back shin pushes down, The tailbone tucks and the hips attempt to surge forwards. Slot the right elbow into the outer edge of the left knee. Wiggle the torso in, hands coming into prayer. And then just check on the front knee, that the knee isn't dipping inwards, the knee is above the ankle, the buttocks are firm, and then looking to the side wall. Keep the pushing down into your back foot and the length through the crown of your head. Chest stays broad and the breath maintains very deep presence. If it's shorter, try and lessen the twist so that you can get the breath deep despite being in a twisted situation. Okay, looking down. And then inhale, push into the front heel, coming back up. And exhale back to the front of the mat, Samastiti, feet together, hands by the sides. Okay, so we're going to leave it there for the standing postures today. So ungraciously sitting back down. And we'll come back to those few points that we had at the start, because I really wanted to reinforce them with this first class of the week, that's the entirety of your practice, is breath, bandhas, drishti. Your awareness on those three different sense objects. Everything else that you're doing in a yoga practice with the postures, whether it's the postures or you're doing a pranayama or deeper elements of the 8 limbs of yoga, there needs to be this awareness to breath, bandhas, and drishti to some degree. So the more that you can reinforce that at the start, the better it comes all the rest of the stuff. Don't worry so much about the hammies are being tight and not being able to have your legs straight in a forward fold, or not being able to open the hip enough to get leg into lotus, or any of those kind of things. That just comes with time and practice. Consistent effort, any part of your body is going to stretch, strengthen, lengthen, and move into a particular position. But what makes you stay consistent with the practice is your ability to stay present in that time that you are spending practicing. So even if that practice is just 10 minutes to do Sun Salutations, that's so much better to do that 10 minutes for 5 or 6 times a week compared to, say, somebody who practices for an hour once a week or once every 2 weeks. It's the consistency that counts more so than the actual duration of the practice. So small steps, one step at a time, and gradually you can start to build a practice. Okay. So let's just recap that. Trishtana, it's thumb and forefinger touching, resting the wrists on top of the thighs, and then feeling the length up through the back of the crown of the head as the chin lowers down just slightly. See if you can find, there's the smooth, light rasping sound low on the throat, originating from breath through the nostrils. Try to ensure that that sound isn't from high on the throat, where it's hissing sound, and you might notice that the jaw is tense. Try and make the jaw relaxed, the mouth feeling cavernous, and the sounds generated from low on the back of the throat. Your ability to keep that sound low on the throat is your ability to tone the vagus nerve, which is controlling your fight and flight responses. If you're breathing high on the throat, it's actually creating more tension. If you're breathing low on the throat, it's
soothing and relaxing, oceanic kind of sound, you want to go for that one. And then you're tracing that breath, sound with breath, with the energetic pattern of prana, apana. Prana on the inhale, the effort to watch awareness go up through the body, drawing energy up through the spine, up to the crown, and the exhale, apana, observing the energy moving downwards, back down through the body, all the way back to the floor. If you're going to describe the shape of your breath, it's like a paperclip. There's just the U-turn at the top and the U-turn at the bottom. And it's just a little fading in and out of the sound. It's actually almost no break in the sound, in that transition from the inhale to the exhale. And then see if you're maintaining that with bandha awareness. Gentle engagement on the pelvic floor, which you can either feel into it by taking the full exhalation and then faking a swallow. That can help you feel to the exact area that's meant to be engaged. Or if you already know where the area is, then it's just a very similar sensation to like if you were trying to hold in a fart, or if you were needing to go to the toilet quite badly and you're trying to hold the urination in. It's that same area that needs to have some engagement. That is the Mula Bandha. And try and hold that area for the duration of the inhale and the exhale. If you have difficulty engaging that area for inhale and exhale, just try it only for the inhalation. You could try inhale, squeeze the pelvic floor, and exhale, relax the pelvic floor. And then as time goes on and the neurons start to connect to that area, then it becomes easier and easier over time to hold the pelvic floor. Not even just for while you're practicing, but through all parts of the day. If you can bring awareness to that area, it'll dramatically change the way that you poise yourself on both in a physical sort of way. It'll you will make all your movements originate from this core sort of area, but also in a way that you're able to maintain presence with other people you're interacting with. If you're present with the sensations going on through your own body, those physical sensations start to be turn into what you can feel energetically happening in your body, and how your body shifts and is informing you of the next steps to take in life, or the next things to say in a conversation. So we've got our 2 points, sound of breath and bandhas. Third point, just let your eyes open and rest on a point in front of you. And just see for the next 10 breaths if you can keep your eyes fixed to that one point. If you can keep the awareness to your bandhas. And if you can maintain the sound with your breathing. Awareness to those 3 things are going to greatly affect your ability to achieve the main aim of Patanjali Yoga, which is stilling the fluctuations of the mind. And then going from focusing on all those 3 points to not really focusing on any of them. You can shut the eyes and withdraw the senses further. Relax the pelvic floor and relax the sound with the breath. And just come back to your normal breathing. And notice what has changed in the sensations through the body after having done these exercises with Trishtana and all the asanas we just did. What has changed? Just note the sensations that are different. And bringing the hands into prayer. And we'll just chant peace mantra. Just Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There's a longer closing mantra which we'll learn over the next few days. But for today we'll just do the Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which is Om, peace, peace, peace. Completing your exhalation. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay. Last and arguably the most important posture is Shavasana. Just lie down on your back and take a rest. It doesn't specifically need to be flat on the back, palms up, feet out to the side. That's just the standard way of doing it. If you have some lower back pain, you could put a bolster or a towel underneath your knees, and that would help out with that. Or even if you wanted to, you could bend the knees and place the feet on the ground and put the knees together. People who are pregnant as well, you don't have to lie on your back. It's probably better for you to lie on your side and have a pillow between the knees. And your arms, they don't have to be by the sides. If you want to, you can have a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly. And maybe that helps you to go inwards a little bit better. I really think that the Shavasana at the end, like, try to take a long Shavasana. I know we want to kind of get up and keep going with the day, but if you can spend a little bit longer, between 5 and 10 minutes in your Shavasana, that's when more healing can take place, because even though we're trying to create a bit of a relaxation response as we're moving through postures and breathing, the next level of relaxation, where the brain goes into a theta state, is when the body's completely relaxed and the breath is completely relaxed. And you only really do that when you've either been meditating for a long time or when you're lying down like this. Flotation tanks can also help with doing this. Into a flotation tank, and it happens quite quickly that the senses withdraw and you can send your mind into a theta state. Chanting as well, that also helps. Chanting for long periods, you
can create a theta state in the mind. But for now, you don't actually have to really do anything. Just lie there, be still, and watch your breath. I'll keep quiet for the next few minutes, and I'll let you know when it's time to get up. Slowly want to coax yourself back to wakefulness. You don't have to move at all at the moment, just listen to the sounds of my voice. And taking your breath a little bit deeper than it was before. Notice your breathing. Notice the good sensations that are there in the body. Bring a little bit of movement to your hands and your feet. And wiggling the hands, wiggling the feet, moving the wrists and ankles. And you can take your arms overhead, interlace the fingers, and reach. Straightening out the arms, lengthening through the sides of your rib cage, and you want to point your toes and lean side to side a little bit. Keeping your breath deep. And then roll onto your right hand side. Keeping your knees bent. Use your arm as a pillow. Just taking a couple of breaths there. pushing into your left hand, and bringing yourself back up into seated. Okay. Well done. So, one thing that if you can take away anything from the practice today, it's just that the postures not as important. They're important, not as important as being able to maintain your awareness of the Trishtana. Which, to take the mysticism out of what the Trishtana is, it's just your ability to stay present, curious, and empathetic through the use of 3 sense objects. A sound with your breathing, or it can be any sound if it's outside of practice. Bandhas, so a sensation of pelvic floor engagement. When you're practicing, it's your bandhas, but in life it can be how you energetically feel, or what is any sensation on any part of the body feeling in any given situation. And the third one, Drishti, looking point, so finding a place to look at. Notice something you hear, notice something you feel, notice something that you see. And some of you might know that that's the same as Buddhist mindfulness meditation. And that's where we see these crossovers of tradition and modern psychology methods. Focusing on 3 sense objects makes you more present, makes you more curious, makes you more empathetic. And all those qualities are the superpower of ego. Okay. So that's all for today. We'll be going a little bit further with the primary series tomorrow and still exploring the different variations of postures. So if you join me again tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Melbourne time is when it's going to be. If you enjoyed today's class and you'd like to help in some way, if you just leave a like and a comment in the section, or if you are able to share this with people you know might enjoy the class or an introduction into yoga, just share it around. That helps greatly. All right, that's all for today. Thank you. Namaste. Okay. Switch these things off. Goodbye, Facebook stream. Also, let me know if there was any